Hello, everyone, and welcome to the DBSL Season 4 Reveal Show. I'm your host and Commissioner JR, and I'm really looking forward to this reveal show. I think it's going to be a really cool way to kind of tie up everything that happened in the regular season. Thanks so much. Want to first off thank all of the league officials who are instrumental in helping this league to run really well. Ferb Fletcher, Navy Cap, are definitely been a tremendous help in terms of keeping the not only just the league going, but also being helpful in terms of making spreadsheets and tools to make the league run like a well-oiled machine. So hats off to Ferb and Navy for their help. And then also just wanted to thank all of the users that are a part of the DBSL. Of course, the league is only as great as the users that take part in it. So really want to thank everyone who was a part of the league. Helping to keep a fun, friendly, and yet competitive atmosphere. Definitely helps to have users who enjoy the game and are good natured and willing to have a good time with this. So thanks to all who participated. So the plan for this show is first I'm going to show off the hidden results here for matches 13 through 14. As you can see, I have blocked those out from your view at this point. So we're gonna go through these group by group, match by match, first off, and then from there we will transition to the playoff bracket, which I'll also show you. I have blacked out here, so remains to be seen who the matchups will be. I'll show those off then. And then I'm going to show off standings and then go to this playoff guide that I have built to kind of help you guys navigate what this next week of matches will look like. So I'll go back to the schedule, and without further ado, we'll now go group by group and show you guys how the results went. Let's start with A division here. We'll go down to the driveway and we'll work our way up. So um, let's show these. Make sure I don't mess this up. Oh, wrong one. Don't look at that. So we're going back to the regular schedule. We're going to grab this and throw it there. So we'll show these. Reset. All right. So in the driveway, Matitude emerged victorious over Arco Thunder. His Hornets were prevail with a score of 3-0. Of course, our Mammoths are AI controlled, so Matitude takes care of business there. We have Nick Seitler defeating Jeremy's. So that'll be Nick Seitler's Dragons beat the Cookies by an aggregate score of 10-3. So good job, Dragons. Looks like Alex's Papagayos defeat Mike Madness's Burn by a score of 6-1. Looks like Burn had a tough time there. And then we have honorable mentions Tricksters. They defeat the Llamas. The Llamas, unfortunately, we're not able to get the match in this week. So the Tricksters emerged victorious there. So that's how our driveway match 13 went. We'll now go over to the parks and we'll now reveal these. In the Parks division, Matty Sam's Duckies prevail against the Sea Cows by a score of 6-3. The Certain Wizards Green Burners prevail 5-1 over the Cheetahs. Of course, the Cheetahs are also on the AI only situation, so that the Burners take care of business. We had in this match we had the Mutiny versus the Turtles. The Turtles take care of business and get the win there by a score of 5-3. And then we had Disky's Tornadoes versus Wilf, and it was Wilf's Bombers, and it looks like Wilf gets the win there by an aggregate score of 7-4. So no draws yet. We'll see if any draws end up coming up in the next show. So here will be front yard match 13. Yes, we do have some draws here. So it looks like Schlim and Castana end up drawing by a score of 1-1. Tin Can Alley is unforgiving. I don't think there were any Tin Can Alleys There's a walled one there, and there. That's not a walled one actually. This one is. But yeah, the Tin Can Alley seems to throw people for a loop. And drive down scoring. So Shlem and Kasana, they draw at 1-1. Jibbo to Hibbo gets the narrow win over Flying J. Zeppelin's Flying J trying to play spoiler, but Jibbo just gets the win there by an aggregate score of 8-7. Looks like Anjou and Hines they draw at 8-8, so a high scoring affair that ends up drawing, and so they each draw the point there as opposed to the three that you get for the win. And then Ferb Fletcher with a compelling 10 goals there against Pickle Boom's 8. So Pickle Boom still putting up eight goals, but is not enough against Ferb Fletcher's Terry Pickers. So that's front yard, and then now we'll go up to the backyard. Here we have the backyard. So in the backyard, the first match, JR's Oysters. JR gets the win by 6-0. Looks like the Pansies had a tough time against the AI Oysters. The Oysters get the aggregate win 6-0. I Am Slim gets the narrow win over P. Sanchez. So the Torritos defeat the Melonheads by a score of 6-5. So that could have ramifications for how the bracket shapes up. But I Am Slim gets the narrow win there. Then we go down here. It looks like Navy Caps Ostriches defeat Dep's Chihuahuas by a score of 8-4, and looks like Whiff Spree's Wallabies defeat George Banuki's Penguins by a score of 8-5 there in the aggregate. So that is our match 13. Now we'll move down to match 14. Match 14 here. We'll start in the driveway again. Looks like we had a draw in our first match here between Matitude and Alex. Looks like the Hornets and the Papagayos draw by a score of 4-4. Nick Seidler's Dragons, they win 7-0 on the user side and then 3-1 on the AI side. Looks like the Tricksters had a tough time. So it ended up being a 10-1 aggregate result for the Dragons. So they go into the playoffs with a compelling result. Looks like Mike Madness gets the narrow win over Arco Thunder's Mammoths by a score of 2-1, and the Cookies defeat the Llamas 6-2 because of the forfeit for the Llamas. Going over to Parks now. Matty Sam's Duckies, they get the win over the Mutiny by a score of 6-4. And then similarly, we have a 6-4 result in aggregate. Here, that Stern Wizard Burners defeat Diski's Tornadoes. And then also 6-4 result, just a little bit different here. Looks like Char Guiders, Sea Cows defeat Melon Math Teachers Turtles by a score of 6-4. And then we have Wilf's Bombers. Wilf gets the win 5-0 over the AI controlled Cheetahs here. So very nice. All wins there in the Parks group. All wins or losses. Now for the front yard. In the front yard, we have another draw at Tin Can Alley. It ends up being 2-2 between the Metro Stars and the Tsunamis. Jibbo DeHibbo gets the win over Ferb Fletcher at actually don't know, that must be a Parks field there. But Jibbo DeHibbo's Boots get the win over the Cherry Pickers. So that might vault Jibbo up. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. And then we have Hines and Kasana. They draw 2-2 in aggregate there. And then Pickle Boom gets again the narrow win over Flying J. So Flying J, valiant effort to play spoiler, but is just narrowly defeated by Pickle Boom. So very compelling and exciting results there in the front yard in match 14. And then now we'll scroll up here and do match 14 in the backyard. The Oysters get the 6-0 win, combined with the 1-0 win on the AI side. So looks like the Oysters again give it a tough time on the AI side to win 7-0. P. Sanchez, the Melonheads, they bounce back with a win over the Penguins, 6-3. Navy Cap and Freak Show get the 6-6 draw in aggregate, and it looks like Whiff Spree gets the Toritos by a score of 6-4. So that covers the full slate of games from matches 13 and 14. I'm sure that there are some of you who were kind of hawking those results and coming up with what the brackets might look like afterwards. I can't tell what the chat's going to be like in several hours, but we'll see. We'll see if those predictions prove correct. But this is how those come up. So now I'll pivot over to the brackets here. Let's do A division first. So I think this one is going to be starting with Parks. So I think Parks 1 is going to end up being here. So in the Parks 1 spot at the top of the bracket will be the Mighty Duckies, managed by Matty Sams. The Mighty Duckies, they win the Parks group. So congrats to the Mighty Duckies. The Mighty Duckies will face the fourth place team from the driveway. And so we'll go ahead and show who that is. The fourth place team from the driveway ends up being the Crunchy Cookies, managed by Jeremy2699. And this match will be played at the field that the Mighty Duckies declared at the beginning of the season, and that will be Playground Commons. So that will be the venue for this first round matchup. Way to go, Duckies, and way to go, Cookies. Should be an exciting match. I'll now scroll down and we'll look at this one. So in the driveway 1 spot, this one has already been announced, but the driveway 1 spot will be the Red Dragons, managed by Nick Seitler. An incredible season for the Dragons, and they'll look to continue their success in the A Division playoffs. Congrats to the Red Dragons. And then in the Parks 4 spot, that will be the Green Burners, managed by Stern Wizard. The Green Burners will be in the Parks 4 spot and going up against the Dragons. And then the field that this match will be played at is Ekman Acres. So the Dragons will face off against the Burners at Ekman Acres. They've called Ekman Acres home this season, and they'll be running it back in the playoffs. So that will be the venue for that. I'll now move up here to this spot. So in the same bracket, in the same side of the bracket as the Duckies and the Cookies, here will be the second seed from the driveway. So driveway 2 is the Dancing Papagayos, managed by Alex7456. They will be in the 2 spot there on the same side as the Duckies, and in this one it'll be the Parks 3 seed. So the Parks 3 seed ends up being the Crazy Bombers, managed by Wilf the God 1. So the Papagayos and the Bombers will be the ones that face off. And to that end, it will be playing at Playground Commons as well. So it looks like Playground Commons will be the common venue, the common field that will be played on that side of the bracket, at least in the first round. We'll see what happens as they go to the semis, but that'll be the spot for those. And then pivoting down here to the quarterfinals on the other side of the bracket. So this will be the Parks 2 seed. So the Parks 2 seed goes to the Salty Sea Cows, managed by Chargider. The Salty Sea Cows get that second spot. And then the Salty Sea Cows will face the Driveway 3 seed, and that will be the Red Hornets, managed by Matitude. That final quarterfinal matchup will be played at Steel Stadium. So the Sea Cows and the Hornets will face off at Steel Stadium. All right. So that is your A. Here, I'm going to zoom out so you can see it in full. So Here is your A division bracket. You have Duckies against Cookies, Papagayos against Bombers, Dragons against Burners, and Sea Cows against Hornets. That is your A division bracket. And now I'm going to go and look at the standings just so you guys can see how this went. A division groups. Here was the final tally of things. Nick Seidler at the top of Driveway Group with the Dragons, Papagayos in second, followed by the Hornets, then the Crunchy Cookies. Those are your playoff teams and who have a shot at promotion to the P division, depending on how well they do in the playoffs. You have again the Duckies, Sea Cows, Bombers, and Burners are your Parks Group playoff teams who also have shots at promotion to P division. And then um, your you have your Gauntlet teams at 5 and 6, so Tricksters and Llamas, Tornadoes and Turtles. They can Gauntlet for a shot at P division next time, but they won't have an advantage. Let's say that. It's similar to all of the playoff teams who don't end up making it far. They will also Gauntlet as well. Um, and then in the 7-8 spots, the Burn and the Mammoths. They'll return to A division. Should the formatting stay the same, and then the Mutiny and the Cheetahs as well. They will return to A division, provided that the format remains consistent for next year. So congrats to the A division people, and now we can move on to the P division playoffs. All right, P division playoffs. Congrats to everyone who made it in A division. We'll now move over to P. In the first spot from the backyard is the Atomic Oysters, managed by yours truly, JR. The Oysters have had a really nice season, running the table 14-0. So certainly going to be hoping that things don't change in the playoffs and that we can keep things running. So the Oysters take the backyard 1 spot, and then facing off against me in the front yard 4 spot, that will be Jibbo DeHibbo and his blue boots. So rekindling the rivalry from last season, the Oysters and the Boots will be facing off in a round 1 matchup. So that should be an exciting matchup. Get your popcorn ready for that rivalry matchup between the Oysters and the Boots. The venue for that matchup will be Steel Stadium. So the Oysters and Boots will be playing at Steel Stadium. We'll now move down here. In the front yard 1 spot, we have the Abominable Cherry Pickers managed by Ferb Fletcher. Congrats to Ferb for locking down the front yard in the latter weeks. So congrats there. And then in the backyard 4 spot, we have the Little Melonheads managed by P. Sanchez. So a very exciting quarterfinal matchup there between the Cherry Pickers managed by Ferb Fletcher, who are a perennial top contender, and then of course we have P. Sanchez, who has a lot of trophies, a lot of DBSL trophies on his resume. So, and we're getting that in the first round. Very going to be unfortunate that we are going to have one of those users eliminated out the gate. So very, very, very exciting matchup there between Ferb and P. Sanchez. That venue will be Steel Stadium as well. That'll be the venue for that matchup. So really, really looking forward to both of these matchups between JR and Jibbo and Ferb and P. Sanchez. Some really, really high profile matchups in the first round there, that have already been revealed. Now let's move up here. This will be the front yard 2 spot. So in the front yard 2 spot, we have Andrew Pays managing the Origami Tsunamis. The Tsunamis secure the front yard 2 spot. So the Tsunamis will be there in the top half of the bracket. And then facing off against the Tsunamis will be the backyard 3 spot. And in the backyard 3 spot, we have Los Torritos managed by I Am Slim 22. Torritos are there. And then the venue for this matchup will be Playground Commons. So Playground Commons will be the matchup, will be the venue for Tsunamis versus Torritos. Very, very exciting matchup there. Should be fun to watch for sure. Tsunamis and Toritos there, and then in the final matchup in the P Division playoffs down here, we have the this will be the backyard. See, that would be the backyard two spot. Yes, just making sure I'm right. The backyard two spot. So in the backyard two spot, we have the Crazy Wallabies managed by Whiff Spree. Whiff Spree, a very exciting turnaround for him. Was was tough sledding for the Wallabies in the past in the last season, but the Wallabies definitely looking like one of the most improved um, teams so far in this league because the Wallabies, they charge past, I think they got like one win or something last season, and now they're over here getting the two seed in the backyard. So very compelling turnaround from the Wallabies. Very exciting stuff to see how they do in this tournament. And then now we'll be looking at the front yard three spot. In the front yard three spot against the Wallabies, we have the Green Metro Stars managed by G Schlim. Wallabies and Metro Stars will be that final spot, and that venue will be Dirt Yards. They'll be facing off at Dirt Yards. So here is that full bracket there. You have Oysters versus Boots at Steel Stadium. You have Tsunamis against Toritos Playground Commons, Cherry Pickers and Melon Heads at Steel Stadium, and Wallabies and Metro Stars at Dirt Yards. So a very star-studded playoff group there. Should be very exciting to see how that unfolds. And now we'll go and look at our standings here. In the front yard, as I mentioned, we had Ferb Fletcher securing the top spot for the Cherry Pickers with the 30 points. Very nice for those Cherry Pickers. Tsunamis get second. He had G Schlim's Green Metro Stars getting third place, Blue Boots in fourth place, and unfortunately the Minty Pickles get snubbed there at the end. Still a very very promising season for the Pickles. I mean 82 user differential is very good, but unfortunately the Pickles do not make the cut. Unfortunately, only four can make it, and so Pickles just do not make it, but they'll still probably be back with the gauntlet if they continue to play as they have. I'm sure that Pickles will be returning with a vengeance in P Division next time should they continue how they played. You have the Bees also in the gauntlet tier there, and then the Gauchos and the Zeppelins getting the relegation, so they'll be down in A Division for the next season. And then those in green are assured. They're assured spot backs in P Division next time. Yellow means that that they'll gauntlet, so they could be in P or they could go down to A if they don't do well. And then red means that they will be down in A Division. And then over to the backyard group, the Oysters, the 14-0 season, very good for them. You have Whiff Spree, I Am Slim, and P Sanchez rounding out the 2, 3, and 4 spots. Again, those are green, so all of those in green will assuredly be returning to P Division next time. In yellow, you have the Penguins and the Ostriches, so they'll be able to gauntlet for returning to P. If they don't do well, they could drop down to A. And then Chihuahuas and Pansies, those teams, should they return, will be in the A division. So that's how those groups shake out. And then now before we end this video and before I'll let you guys go, I did want to show you guys this guide that I worked on to kind of I wanted to show you guys this so that we can so that it's pretty clear how this week is going to work. So there are two of these guides. There's one for P Division and one for A Division. So I would encourage you guys to use this so there's no confusion about how things are going to work. So you can see that there's instructions in the cell A1 at the top. So if you are unsure of how this is going to work, please review this sheet, read the instructions, and review this grid here. So generally how things are going to work for the playoffs. So instead of generating a whole host of files again, instead of having to do all that work, we found that it works really well to do the playoffs using friendly matches. So backyard soccer is unique in that you can do friendly matches in single game mode, and so this is uh, turned out to be a really useful way of doing the playoffs and eliminating the need to generate a bunch of files. So how this is going to work. So let's say I'm the Atomic Oysters, which I am, and let's say that I'm going to play my playoff matches this week. So first off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up my game and stream in Jibtegrity like I normally would, and then I'm going to select single game. So once you enter single game, you have a bunch of different settings you can choose, right? So what you'll then do is you'll choose friendly match, right? You'll choose friendly match. You'll choose hard difficulty. You'll choose all the settings that we use in season. So short game lengths, game ends in a draw, offsides off, fouls on. You'll choose all of those settings as described in the instructions up top. You'll then want to decide, okay, so which match am I playing? So am I playing my round one match or am I playing one of my round two matches? So the we're going to call that round one match G101. We're going to call the round two matches, potential round two matches, is G201 and G202. So, so for me, for my oysters, my G101 matchup is going to be against the Blue Boots managed by Jibbo to Hibbo. That's my round one matchup from the playoffs. I could potentially match up against the Tsunamis, or I could match up against the Toritos, right? Because that's how the playoffs were set up. So it's Boots are I'm assured to match up against them, and I could match up against either the Tsunamis or the Toritos. So then how I would use this grid, right? So first off, I played my G101. So I would see all the info that's needed here. So when I'm playing the Blue Boots, I need to be the home team, right? Because I'm the better seed, so I'm going to be the home team, and that match is going to be played at Steel Stadium. Similarly, if I were the Blue Boots, my first matchup would be against the Atomic Oysters. I would be the away team if I were the Boots, and I would be playing at Steel Stadium as well. So that's kind of how you would use this. And then, as I mentioned, the G201 and G202, those are hypothetical matchups. So you are welcome to play both of those, or you can always play your G101 first, and then wait around and see which one comes up. So if you choose to do the latter, I would please ask you to play your. I mean, in any of these, try not to wait around until the end of the week, just because all of these matchups are contingent upon what happens in the other one. So just ideally, not everybody would procrastinate to the end of the week, right? So when you're on the page selecting the settings, you'll need to know the field. So the field is the first thing you'll need to put in. So just put in the field, and you can advance. You'll select the coach file that is yours, and then you'll go all the way to the matchup screen. So go past like the normal Sunny and Earl Grey commentary, right? So go all the way to the matchup screen where you have the two teams side by side, and you'll not want to start the game at that point, because then you'll use the arrow keys by the opponent team to change who that's going to be. You'll toggle, okay, because probably the Boots are not going to be the one that's up, so I'll have to like hit the arrows over to the Boots, and then I will click the mouse and computer icons at the top to choose whether I'm the home or the away team. So that you'll configure that how it is. Then at that point you can go back and look at how the lineups are. You can change things however you want it to be, and then from there you can play and submit things to the bot like normal. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. If you're still confused, please ask questions. Like I said, so we have this full grid, so you can find the column corresponding to your team. So if you're the oysters here, if you're the cherry pickers, you look here. So hopefully this grid helps to avoid any sort of confusion. There's also one for a division, so you should be able to figure out what is needed in the week ahead. Um, but I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover in this video. So who congrats to those who made the playoffs. If you didn't make the playoffs, better luck next time. Don't get discouraged. There will be future seasons for you to get over that hump. But I think that covers everything I wanted to say. So thanks to all for joining and for seeing this video. And I hope you have a good and I hope you have good luck in the playoffs. Unfortunately, if you're although don't hope you don't have good luck if you're playing me, right? So thanks all for joining, and hope you have a good time in playoffs. Thanks so much.